Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Hi, guys. Let's just wait for a couple of more minutes. Let some more people join in, and then we'll start. Hi, good evening. Yes, we'll be talking about the August attempt, the May attempt. Basically, a strategy if you are just starting out, and if you have your exam in 1 month, then what should you do for the last 1 month? We'll talk about that also. Hi, Vansh. Hi. Yes, we will try and cover for last 1 month. What should you do if your exam is in Feb 26? Oh, nice. Feb 27, a lot of time, a lot of time to prepare. Thank you, Uday. Hi, good evening. Okay, I think let us start dot on 7. So let me just give you a brief around how this session is going to go. I want it to be like super interactive. Any doubts you have, just drop it in the chat at any point of time, and I will start off with a prep strategy, how to align your subjects, what order should you study in, how to revise, and how many questions is enough when we talk about CFA. So all of that stuff, that is how the session is going to go. Drop your questions in the chat as and when, and we'll discuss. So I think let's start with the study order, which I think is very, very important, because unlike other exams, okay, if you talk about CA or your college exams, most of the times one day, one subject. Okay, that is how it goes. But here for CFA, you have one day and 10 subjects. That is where the story becomes very, very different. And so that is very, very critical. So the first thing which I want to discuss around is your study order. Now everyone knows that ethics has a very high weightage, right? Almost 18 to 20% of your exam comes from ethics, and more so, ethics is common across the three levels. So the syllabus of ethics does not change. So ethics is a very, very critical subject, and nobody can deny that. But I personally studied ethics in the end, and it worked out pretty well for me. I mean, I self studied across all three levels, and I studied ethics in the very end of my preparation. Again, the reason being, I don't think there is anything very, very conceptual when it comes to ethics. Whether you can take a gift from your client directly, or whether you need to disclose it, whether you need to take a written consent, there is nothing very conceptual around this. Which is why I start ethics towards the end, because if I start ethics first, because it has the highest weightage, let's say I start ethics first, then after ethics, when I study those heavyweight subjects like fixed income and quants and FSA, I'm pretty sure I will forget ethics by the end. So ethics should ideally be the last subject that you pick up, and once you pick up ethics, you don't put it down. So every single day after that, you keep on at least spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes on ethics, in solving ethics. uh, I did not memorize anything in ethics. The best way to solve ethics is just read the standards once and solve as many questions as you can solve. Develop that intuition of ethics, okay, which is very, very important, which is why taking up ethics as your last subject. And once you take it up, don't stop. So there is no need to revise ethics, because once you started reading ethics, you never really stopped reading ethics. It is very important. It is one of the most critical subjects when it comes to clearing or not clearing the exam. So yes, August 26 attempt or May 26 attempt, I think both the attempts we have a lot of time for. And in that sense, ethics should be, according to me, one of the last subjects that you pick up. So, subject number 10, ethics, despite super high importance, subject number 10 is ethics. Subject number 9 should be, in my opinion, again, it should be equity. And again, let me, run you through why, because I'm not just making random statements. If you see equity, right? Equity, uh, I don't know how many of you have, actually gone through the syllabus of equity. The very first chapter of equity has a lot of linkages to a lot of other subjects. Okay, so the first chapter of equity, if you read it, you will find words like forwards, futures, options, just casually strewn about the syllabus. Okay, you'll even find hedge funds written over there. So the point is, there is no need to understand these terms in the very first chapter of equity in so much of detail, because we have separate dedicated chapters on these things, right? We have an entire chapter on hedge funds and alternate investments. We have complete chapters on forwards, futures, and options, right, in derivatives. So the whole logic is that, if you pick up equity early on in your study order, it will end up taking a lot of your time. So it makes more sense to let equity be your ninth subject when you've already studied all of these terms in detail in other subjects. Then you come to equity. It will get over much more quicker, and it will make much more sense also for you. So equity, subject number 9. uh, in derivatives, last 2 3 topics unable to grasp. Okay, I'll come to derivatives. So derivatives, yes, I'll also come about a qualified CA pathway. So irrespective of whether you are an engineer, whether you are a chartered accountant, qualified, unqualified, irrespective of all of that, your last two subjects should be equity and ethics, okay, in that order. And if you are starting today, yes, you have enough time to clear the May 26 attempt. It, however, depends on, are you studying full time, or are you also, doing a job or something alongside with it. Now, these were the last two subjects, and full time, definitely it is enough to clear May 26. You have a lot of time. Now let us come to the subject order. Ninth and 10th subject we've discussed. Let's talk about the first subject, right? Which subject you should study first, second, third. Now here it really depends on what your academic qualification is as of now. So for example, if you are an engineer, you are very, very likely to find quants super simple. Okay, so pick up quants first. It is again a conceptual subject, and it is something which you will find very easy. So pick up quants first if you are an engineer. If you are a chartered accountant, you can pick up FSA first, because in that case, FSA will be super easy for you. So if you're an engineer, start off with quants. It's a good ego booster to have. If you are a chartered accountant, start off with FSA, again a good ego booster. And after you've picked up these subjects, be it FSA or quants, your second subject should ideally be fixed income. And I'll tell you why. Fixed income is one subject uh, where a lot of people face a lot of problems, because first of all, it is the longest subject that is there in L1. I think there are nearly 19 or 20 chapters that we have in fixed income. More so, it is highly conceptual. So fixed income should be higher on in your study order. After quants and FSA, the second or the third subject that you pick up should be fixed income. Okay, coming to your questions for a bit. Yes, if you start now for August is also good. 3 to 4 hours daily, completely manageable. Shubham should be fine. How to study ethics from Schwezer or CFA Institute? Um, Okay, so for ethics, what I recommend, and this is what I personally also did. I mean, I self studied, and this is what I did. Ethics, you have the Schwezer material, read through the Schwezer material, and that's enough. Now, when you start solving questions, you have to solve questions from the CFA Institute. Very, very important, especially in case of ethics. I think I solved a maximum number of questions in case of ethics. Your major understanding of ethics, your major comfort of ethics comes from solving questions. So there is no option. You just have to solve the CFA Institute questions. But when it comes to reading the text, if you read the text from CFA Institute, it will take you a lot of time. So read the text from Schwezer, which is a summarized version, but solve a lot of questions from the CFA Institute material. Once Okay, see now whether you should study subject wise or whether you should mix multiple subjects depends on the kind of time that you have. So let's say you have 8 months to study, you can very comfortably go subject wise, not a problem. But if let's say you have an exam in the next 4 months and you are just starting out, in that case, it might make more sense to have overlapping subjects. And when we talk about overlapping subjects, you should mix it very carefully. So if you mix up, let's say, quants and fixed income, I would have a heart attack because both of these subjects are super super heavy subjects, right? And they require independent study time. So if you want to match, let's say, fixed income with alternate investments, that is okay. Alternate investments is a easy theoretical subject. Fixed income is a important heavy practical subject. So that kind of combinations, you can do. But again, if you are running short on time, then only do it. Otherwise, I think it makes more sense to uh, study these subjects in detail. Difficulty, I think the mocks are more difficult than the real exams, but I'm not very very sure. Okay. So moving on, yes, I will talk about the Feb 26 attempt, but I'll come back to that. So we've spoken about, your first three subjects, your last three subjects. Now talking about, a revision strategy, which is, trust me, very very important. I can guarantee you that just having conceptual clarity for an exam like CFA is not enough. It is far from enough. Okay, please appreciate the fact that you have to give 10 subjects in one day. So right from Gordon's growth model to hypothesis testing to the par rate curve to can you take a gift from your client, all of that needs to be in your brain at any single point of time. Okay, so revision is very very important, and I would want to talk about revision a fair bit. So there we won't be discussing academic questions on this session. uh, so anyway, so talking about the revision strategy. So the first five subjects ideally should be fixed income, quants, FSA. derivatives, and portfolio management. As per me, this should be the first five subjects that you do. Again, I'll explain that these are all concept heavy subjects with high weightage. I know derivatives does not have a very high weightage in CFA level 1. Okay, I understand that. But the problem is that if you treat derivatives as a low weight subject in L1, you will find it very, very, very difficult when you come to L2. Okay, all the concepts which are discussed in L1, you need to be aware of these concepts. You need to be comfortable with these concepts before you move on to L2. So, this should be your first five subjects. Now, when you start studying, what you will feel is uh, what you will feel is you start studying your third subject and you will feel that you have forgotten what you studied in the first subject. Very common, it happens. You are studying quants and you feel you have forgotten everything that you studied about fixed income. It happens and you need to address this problem. So what do we do for this? When you start studying your sixth subject, which could be, let's say, corporate issuers, it could be economics, it could be alternative investments. Now, these subjects are not very, very difficult subjects, they are easy to understand subjects. So when you start studying these subjects from the sixth subject onwards, ideally you should start revising your subject number one. So let's say you are studying corporate issuers now. Ideally, you should start revising FSA again with corporate issuers. Then you move on to, let's say, alternate investments, and you start revising fixed income with alternate investments. The idea is that all the 10 subjects don't need the same amount of revision. Okay, there are five subjects. Everyone knows these five are tougher subjects. They will need more revision. So the idea is by the time you complete your first reading, okay, you have already studied five subjects, and you have studied five subjects and five subjects, right? You've studied all the 10 subjects, but you have specifically revised those five subjects one extra time. That extra round of revision is important. If it is your second attempt and you burnt out the first time due to overstudying or poor time management, this is exactly what I'm trying to cover over here, on what you should do, so that you don't so that you don't mismatch in terms of revision and first round of completion. Just let me give you an example. Okay, alternate investments, for instance, does not need the same amount of revision that fixed income will need. Okay, or corporate issuers won't need as much revision as quants will need. So when you put the heavyweight subjects as your first five subjects, you are more or less sorted with the tough parts of the syllabus. Then when you move on to the easier subjects, I think someone was asking, Vansh I think, was asking if we should mix and match subjects. So that is something which you can do from your subject number 6 onwards. So your subject number 6 is, let's say, like I said, economics. So you study economics 80% of the time. 20% of the time you start revising a older subject which you have studied. This is the retention strategy which will help you ensure that at any given point of time, all the 10 subjects are in like one arm distance from your brain. Okay, Nikhil, it's very good if you are a working professional. Actually, I wanted to comment upon this generally also. So if you are college students, if you are in your undergrad and you are doing a CFA, absolutely fine. Okay, that is okay, because you are anyway studying for your graduation. With that, you are studying CFA, so that makes sense. But if any one of you is thinking that I will be a full time CFA student, which means that I have completed my graduation and I am just studying for CFA right now, is that the correct strategy? No. Okay, CFA is not a magic wand which will land you into front end roles directly. You have to combine it with relevant work experience. So if you are a undergrad student, you are completing your graduation, with that you are doing your level 1, absolutely fine. But otherwise, if you've completed your graduation and you are just studying for CFA, that is not recommended. Please take up a job and prepare for CFA along with the job. It's okay if it takes you a full-time student could probably clear it in 4 months. It's absolutely okay if it is taking you 6 or 7 months to clear. So to give you context, I'll tell you how I cleared my CFA attempts. My first level of CFA I cleared in 2000. I mean, I cleared all the three attempts in the first go. But my first attempt I cleared in 2019. Then I got busy with other stuff. I got busy with CA. I got busy with my work. I gave my level 2 in 2022, okay, with my CAT preparation. So that was a significantly big gap for me. But in that time, I was working on other things. I gave my level 3 in 2023 or 2024. So that's another 1 year gap that I took. Gap as in I was doing my MBA during that point of time. But the point is, you don't need to clear all three levels in 1.5 years. Okay, that's not how the value unlock will happen. The value unlock will happen if you are working, if you are building skills. That is when you can negotiate that. Okay, I have cleared one more level. I want a salary hike now. Clearing all three levels without any work ex is not recommended. And if you are a professional who is doing CFA with a job, in that case, Monday to Friday, I am assuming you won't be able to study a lot. So try to solve questions during that point of time, because I used to find it easy. So I was also doing it when I was working, and with, I think, at KPMG at that point of time. So Monday to Friday, not a lot of work happens in terms of studying. So I used to solve questions from Monday to Friday. If find your most productive hour, if it is at 5 o'clock in the morning, or is it at 11 o'clock in the night. Find what when it is that your brain is retaining max information. Find that time, and 1 hour studying every day during the weekdays is sufficient. Pull during the weekends, study for 5 hours, 6 hours. You'll have to do that. But during the weekdays, if you can manage to remove even 1 hour where you are solving questions, that is fairly okay as a working professional. So now, coming back to our revision. So that was the revision strategy. Now, again, some of you have been asking for Feb 26 attempt. I'm almost reaching the end of the timeline. So ideally, before your exam, whatever your exam is, before your exam, 1 month before your exam should be a cutoff date for you. So if you are planning comfortably, 1 month before your exam, all of your studying should have happened, along with solving questions. The last 1 month has to be for learning nothing new. Okay, don't bother yourself with learning new stuff at this point of time. The last month should be, let's say, take 15 days. So start off with a mock, take a mock exam, revise your subjects. Last 15 days before the exam, please don't take any mock. Don't do all this daredevil stuff in the last 15 days. Not required. So before your exam, last 10 days, 15 days, don't touch any mocks. Just keep on revising all the subjects, keep on solving questions. I'm not saying stop solving questions. There's a difference between taking a mock and solving questions. When you take a mock, you can see what score you have gotten, and you can very comfortably understand if you have passed or if you've not passed. So when you do something like this 10 days before the exam, you are basically playing with your nerves, which can be very, very scary. So don't do that in the last week before your exam. Take that week relaxed. But 1 month before your exam, your first mock you should give, and I'll explain why. If there is any major issue that we are identifying, okay, 1 month before the exam, let's say you took your first mock and you're scoring very low in one subject. So we need time to work on it. What is the point of taking a mock 1 week before the exam and scoring very, very low in one subject and not having time to work on it? So in that case, at least protect your confidence. Okay, because 1 week before the exam you cannot do anything, but 1 month before the exam. So for people who are giving Feb 26, and generally also it's not just Feb 26, you may be planning for August or May. So 1 month before the exam should be your cutoff date where you want to take your first mock. The reason of taking the first mock 1 month before is so that we have time to address any issues that we are finding when we have taken that mock. So 1 month before we take our first mock, we analyze that mock, we understand what is the problems. Next, after 5 6 days, we take the other mock. That is it. Okay, last 10 days before your exam, do not take any mocks. Take mocks at a point of time when, if you analyze, if you find issues, you are able to solve those issues. And yes, taking mocks is very very important. And from my personal experience, again, I cannot quote unquote this, but from my personal experience, I have always observed the mocks to be slightly tougher. So that's okay, but do take mocks and don't take them very very late. um, Third year student, CA, have cleared intermediate, currently preparing for L1. Yeah, sounds very good. A lot of chartered accountants do CFA. I myself, was a CA who did CFA. So absolutely fine. You want to do equity research. Yes, but CACFA is a good combination. If you have a rank, it makes your life simpler. But most of the times, to get into front end roles at the really really big names, you will need an MBA. Most 9 out of 10 times you will need an MBA for it. Um, but coming to that point, because a lot of you who are studying for CFA today might also have it in your head somewhere that you want to also do an MBA. Which is why I feel this is a very underrated point, which gets really missed, is that people don't study in English. Well, let me explain what that means. So you are reading your question, okay, you are understanding the concept, you are understanding it in Hindi or your local language, then in your mind you are translating it into English, and then you are solving questions. So what is the problem with this approach? Absolutely nothing. In L1 you will not face a lot of problems because the questions are just one paragraph, right? So you won't face a lot of problem. Yes, sometimes you might feel that I'm not understanding what this question is trying to say, right? It's becoming an interpretation issue for me. But in L1 you will not face so much of a problem. What will happen is, in L2 you have case studies, you have vignettes, so that's a lot of material that you need to read before you can solve your questions. So if you are not comfortable with English language, that is going to be slight problem in L2, when you have to read a lot of case studies. Okay, and then I know there are a lot of people who are not understanding what the case study is trying to say. If I translated it for them in a Hindi English kind of mixed language, they would be able to solve correctly. But as of now, they are not understanding what the question is trying to say, which is why it's taking a lot of time. So please, whenever you are learning, whenever you are studying, learn in the language in which the exam is going to be there. In L3 you will feel very very uncomfortable, because in L3 you have to write answers also, and it has to be crisp. You cannot write in a way which sends across the wrong meaning, around an allocation, along a portfolio choice, right? You can't do that. And for many of you, I'm sure somewhere in your head you are also thinking that not now, but maybe a year or so down the line, I'll also do an MBA. It does not matter if you have that in your head that you want to do an MBA, whether you do it from India or from outside India, does not matter. If you do it from India, you have to take the CAT. In CAT, there is one section on verbal ability, a pure English kind of a test. In GMAT also there is one section which is on verbal ability, which is again based on English. So it's not a choice. It can be good, it can be bad, but this language problem you might not feel so much in L1, but in L2 and L3 it starts to compound. So anyway, coming back, talking about question solving, how many questions are full length questions? Um, yeah, so sorry, I was just busy reading someone's message. So anyway, how many questions are enough questions is a very big point. Okay, I'll tell you, across all my levels of studying for CFA, I was never able to solve 3,000, 4,000 questions, because again, I am telling you, don't pursue CFA in isolation. What is your objective? Your objective should not be I have to come first in CFA, right? Your objective should be I want to land a good job. Whatever you do in your academic decisions, your ultimate objective should be I want to land a finance role in a particular place, IB, ER, or PE, VC, hedge fund, whatever. That is your ultimate goal, right? So you need to combine it with WorkX. Now, if you are doing it with WorkX, if you are doing it with another certification, another course, you will not be able to solve 3,000, 4,000 questions. There is a limitation of time. You have 24 hours in a day, which we cannot change. Okay, so how many questions is enough? I have seen students solve a lot of questions from a lot of resources. 4,000, questions. I never solved these many questions. CFA Institute material is the best. If you can get the premium pack, get the premium pack. Solve questions from there, from your CFA material. One or two other resources, if you want to take those, if it is, giving you good quality of questions. There is no point of solving 10,000 questions of very low quantity, because it is just taking your time. That is not a efficient allocation of your time. It is much better you learn some other skill which will help you in your job, but solve questions which are of a good quality. CFA Institute questions, of course. And apart from that, solve questions which are of good quality. So if I solve one question, it is giving me some conceptual understanding. It is a good use of my time. No use of solving 10,000 poor quality questions. So do not do that. uh, Yes, I will actually provide mock and test series pretty soon. Spooky. I will be doing that very soon. I'll let you know. Okay, for project and skills to develop if your exam is far away. Okay, so if any of you have a far away exam, first preference is take up an internship. There is nothing which gives you proof of work like actual work. You can get all the certifications that you want. It is not a replacement for actual work. So if you have a choice of taking up a internship which gives you good proof of work, that should be priority number one. If you can't do that, if for whatever reason you are not able to land an internship, in that case it depends on what kind of a job you want. If you want a IB or a ER job, in that case modeling is a good skill to learn. And here, there is the Corporate Finance Institute, which has the FMVA course, which is a pretty good course. It is recognized in multiple countries. So that could be something which you do along with that. There is no official disclosure around the weightage between theory and numerical, so I cannot comment on that. How to prepare for ethics? Madhusudan. So sorry. So how to prepare for ethics? I covered this in the very beginning. You have to solve a lot of questions. Pick it up towards the end of your preparation. Again, I'm hoping your end is not 5 days away from the exam. That should not be the case. But towards the end of your preparation, when you've finished all the nine subjects, the 10th subject should be ethics. Once you start ethics, do not stop ethics. Every single day, 10-15 questions of ethics. Do revise. See, are questions of ethics tough or difficult? Are they lengthy or not? All of that, I'm telling you, it comes back to how comfortable you are in reading what they are saying, right? Which is why I'm telling you, please study in the English language. It makes a lot of difference. And see, are they tough? Again, it depends, but yeah, it's not going to be something like very very easy, like 100 rupee note is dropped on the road, what do you do? It's not going to be stuff like that. It is stuff which is morally gray. It is stuff which is confusing, which is why ethics is feared by so many people. um, uh, yeah, I'll try to do that. um, Yes, I will be, giving the mock and test series. I'm really trying to roll it out before Feb, so that the Feb attempt people can benefit from it. Uh, Thank you, Brajesh. I'm glad you liked the deferred tax video. So coming back to what we were discussing on hand, uh, question solving, okay, which is a very important part. So if you are someone who just in case is doing something like this, that I will read all the chapters. I completed, let's say, a chapter on deferred tax. After I completed the chapter on deferred tax, I went on the learning ecosystem. I solved all the questions which are there under deferred tax. Then I'm moving on to the next chapter. that is not a true picture of what your accuracy is going to be on the exam. If you have just studied a topic, whether it is economics, whether it is portfolio management, behavioral bias, if you have just studied it, obviously it is very very fresh in your heads, and obviously that accuracy is uh, going to be very very inflated. So that is not how you understand what my actual accuracy is, because this subject is very very fresh in my mind right now. So how do I get a real picture of what my accuracy is? uh, the idea around that is, you did a chapter, you solve the end of chapter questions. If you are studying from Shrezer, you solve the questions which are coming over there, you move on to the next chapter. After you have studied the subject, you have to solve questions randomly. That was the whole initiative of even uh, no Naman, I did self study for all three levels of CFA, no coaching for me. uh, Coming back, so what was I saying? Yeah, so you are studying one chapter, you are solving questions on that chapter, you are getting an accuracy of 90%, you are feeling very happy. That's not the case. You solve one chapter, you understood. To check whether I understood what I have studied, you solve questions, you get those questions right. That only means that you have understood and you are able to apply what you have studied. It does not comment on your retention, and it definitely does not comment on the kind of accuracy you will have under exam situations. So how do you get yourself comfortable with it? Because this is something I have seen a lot of people not do. You complete a subject, your question solving has to be random. Any question should come and you should be able to solve it, because that is how the actual exam will be. So you click on FSA, there are 100 questions, there are 1000 questions, whatever, and you solve those questions randomly. That is when you will be able to test that, okay, I studied this particular concept a week ago, am I still getting the answers right? So let's say you did FSA, then you move to fixed income. Okay, you are studying fixed income, you're studying quants. After quants, again start solving questions randomly. You have to make yourself feel uncomfortable in your practice, so that on the day of the exam you feel comfortable. Okay, it is okay if it has been, maybe you studied this subject 7 subjects before, maybe it's been 3 months since you studied this subject. Still, pick up questions from that subject randomly and solve. Your accuracy will be low. It's going to be low because it's been 7 months or 6 months or whatever, it's been 3 months since you touched that subject. So yes, your accuracy is going to be low. It was low for me also, because I used to solve it very very randomly. It's been very long, 3 months since I didn't study this subject. I'm randomly picking it up and solving questions now. So probably, yeah, the accuracy is not going to be low, but I don't want my accuracy to look nice on the LES, right? I want my accuracy to look nice on the scorecard which comes to me. So if you do this, if you solve questions randomly, if you do this, what happens is that all the 10 subjects are very very close to your brain. Your brain has understood the tricks of how to solve a question. Even if you don't remember the concept, how can I still solve this question? Okay, what are the options that I can eliminate? It is a MCQ based exam, and it is something that you should take advantage of, that you have three options. So how do you choose the right one? So that is something that you should, all of you should focus on this aspect. You have CFA level 3 in 20 days. No, this session, Priyank, we are restricting to level 1, because most of the people here are of level 1. You are facing problems in some subjects, not in all. What to do? Again, very very true. Which I, like I said before, not all subjects require the same amount of time, not all subjects require the same amount of attention from your side. So whatever subjects you are facing more problem in, solve more questions for that particular subject. Again and again reading the same text is not going to help you apply better. In fact, you will get very frustrated. Okay, so start solving questions from the topics where you feel your accuracy is low. You get the let's say you get the answer wrong, it's okay, because when you get the answer wrong, you read, right, what is the correct solution, why did you get it wrong. So That is something which will really help you when you solve a lot of questions. And that is a good strategy of revision also, because now you are revising not through reading stuff again, you are revising through solving questions. You got the question wrong, you read what was the real reason, what was the actual thought process, and then that concept gets revised in your head. That is how it stays fresh. So, yeah, I think that is all from my side around CFA, around building skills in CFA. If there is any other questions, uh, I will be happy to take that up. I did not take any coaching, so I'm not really sure on that. Theory heavy subjects, it can get very, very sleepy, sleepy actually. So solve questions, read the context, solve questions, and again, comfort with the language is very important, especially for theoretical subjects. We Asians and Indians tend to do very, very well on math, but when it comes to theory, we kind of suffer because of the discomfort with English. Anything else? Uh, Sorry, Lone Wolf, what was your question? Uh, I'll try. How many mocks are enough? See, two bare minimum, two mocks at a bare minimum you should solve. At a maximum, four. More than that, I don't think you will have the time. So that should be sufficient. Okay, guys, I think that is all. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll try to do something like this one more time. And yeah, Abhishek, how to build accuracy even after solving multiple questions and not able to score enough. If you're solving multiple questions and you're still not scoring enough, then your concept is not clear, you've not understood the concept, you'll have to revisit and understand the concepts again. uh, Thank you, Shubham. Yes, I actually do teach. I do teach right now. Also, I teach, but I teach offline in a very physical kind of an environment. But yes, we are going to go online pretty soon. So, uh, no, I'll try to. I'll try. So we do. I will be launching pretty soon online. So that is the case. I'm a CA into. Uh, Yashvi, I'll try to share the question bank and other stuff for practice as soon as I can. Again, we can't just provide it like that, right? We have to build a system around it. We are developing that system, and we will try to get back as soon as you can. No, please, Manoj, don't do that. You have to register for the exam in the early bird. Why do you want to pay extra money? See, this mentality is there that once you pay money, your mind is invested that it's a very expensive exam. You're paying a lot of money for the exam. Pay money, book your attempt, and then force yourself to study for that attempt. If you keep that option open, that once I'm prepared, then I will book the exam, unnecessarily, the booking of the exam will get very, very delayed. So pay money, book the exam, and 100% your brain will make you study after you've seen the money go out of your pocket. uh, Pankaj, no, don't read more. Solve more questions. When you get the questions wrong, read the solution. That is a better way of solving. uh, Last 10 days revision, again, focus on solving questions. One day, pick up a subject, 5 hours, brush through it, 5 hours, solve questions on it. So that should be the case. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. I hope to do something like this again soon, to answer more of your questions. And thank you.